hunt deer, and it's raining, and Legrium does not like rain on it. It needs at least 4 hours before we get a shower, but it's been spotty. It's not even rain, it's just a little bit of whatever. That to get past before I do any more. Doggone it. As much as I need this rain, I don't need it right now. And it was done. I looked at the weather forecast. There was no more rain until 10 o'clock tonight. Holy smokes. And that's going to wash it off of what I just did. It's going to be just enough to wash it off of what I just did. Look at that. That little crappy cloud right there is what did that. I'll have to give it a few minutes. It's really raining over there. It ain't raining so bad here, but it's really raining over there. Well, Lord, thank you very much for this rain. We really appreciate it. Just not quite at this time. We could have waited for an hour or two. But you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it anyway. I don't think it's going to hurt the insecticide because that's basically a fumigant. Darn though. It's going to wash the Legrium off the corn, and that's what I literally just put the Legrium in for this specific field. Darn it. Anyway, I'll shut up now. Welcome to the show. Alright, so this is a field. I don't know if I've shown it yet or not, but this is a field that I sprayed Legrium or Liberty on because I have volunteer corn growing in it, and it proceeded to rain immediately thereafter. So it was a combination of Legrium or Liberty and Roundup, and when you do that, you have to use the full dose on both chemicals in order to get the full effect of them. So you can see there's pretty heavy deer population here, and they've been chewing away at these beans down here on the corner. And I have spider mites, 2 spotted spider mites in here. I think I might have those under control now. This has been a day before yesterday. I sprayed this in the evening. It wasn't supposed to rain. And I can tell you right now that the Legrium or the Liberty is taking out that volunteer corn. I can tell. It's yellowing. So let me take this. I really hate driving through soybeans like this when they're this nice. These are not very tall. These have been impacted negatively by the deer. It's just terrible what they're doing to me here. But you get out here, you know, that's along the edge. Every night there's 20, 30 deer on this thing. So, yes, it is taking it out. Or at least yellowing it. You can see how it's turning it yellow like that. So apparently, what I was told from the fertilizer plant or the chemical plant or the fertilizer company, FS Growmark, that if it was going to rain, do not spray it. Well, I wasn't going to spray it, to be quite honest with you. I was just gonna. It wasn't gonna rain. I wasn't gonna spray it if it was gonna rain. There was no rain in the forecast, and there was nothing on the radar, nothing. And even when it did rain, and I have video of it, it was sun shining, just like now, and it came down, it dumped on me. So, apparently, corn, or volunteer corn and Legrium, or Liberty, it smokes it pretty good. Now, the insecticide that I used was Battalion, or miticide insecticide. That takes aphids, thrips, and mites. It takes them out, which is a good thing, and hopefully, this is what I was having problems with. And this definitely had not spider mites, but what is that, whitefly? You can see the vein. Hopefully you can see. Hold on, let me see if I can get that thing to focus. It is, you see how that vein on that leaf is brown like that? Now these soybeans are going to explode when it rains, because it's not super dry here, but the ground is hard. This is semi-no-till, what I would call semi-no-till or ultra minimum tillage from the vertical tillage machine. All I wanted to do was chew up the corn stalks, one pass 2 inches deep, and that's it. And that's what fired off all of this volunteer corn. Yeah, just to maybe clarify that a little bit, that little rain shower that happened on that legume or the Liberty herbicide, which normally washes it away, only lasted for 5 minutes. It came down and drops the size of quarters, and the whole tractor was wet and the water was running off of it. So I pretty much figured that Liberty had washed clear off the leaves. And to my wondrous surprise, and it is a wondrous surprise, it actually is working. And I have to respray that damn spider mites. I got them under control, and then they must have rehatched out, and that's what I've got is a newly hatched bunch of dew-spotted spider mites. Alright, so I'm going to go to the dry spot first. This is dry here. You can see the corn's curling. You can see it's just tasseling now here in this dry spot. This is the upper knoll. It's got some issues, baby. Issues. Like, we are super dry. Now, why is it a dry spot? Well, because I put the lime here. See that? And it's dust. It has had some rain at some point in the last few days because there's moisture down there. But it isn't enough to really pull it through its issue. I don't know. I think the Eastern Shore farmer, he had corn that looked like this. This is compacted because this is where the lime pile was. Now I'm going to get on the outside of where that lime pile was, which is here. So there's no more compaction here, and you can see, other than where the deer have been tracing, running through here, deer or coons, that's deer, that we have an ear set. It's pollinating nicely. There's enough moisture here to knock that pollen down to the nice blonde, what do you call it, ear or silk. The silks are getting pollinated. So as you can see, the lower leaves on this are a little bit burned off because of the dry weather. But if I dig here just a little bit now, a few days ago, so you see how easy it was for me to dig? That's because of the vertical tillage machine. There isn't much moisture down there. Not much, but it's better than what I expected. We are going to get 5 inches of rain in the next 4 days, according to the weatherman from Hurricane Debbie. There's enough trash residue here. I resized it with the VT, or Teresa did. I don't know if I did it or she did it. I think she did it. She VT'd, I did the planting. There's a definite inconsistency here on this particular spot. I think this is where I drove up to the other end of the field, and then you go through here, and then it kind of levels out a bit. Comes back to green. I get 5 inches of rain. I'm hoping that these ears are not negatively affected by the dry weather that led us up to this point. The ear set on this particular variety should be about here. These are a tall ear set. These are now at a normal height ear set, and the reason I want the tall varieties is because of the deer pressure. Obviously, I don't know if y'all are being able to see much here. I don't know what the hell this, it's not tar leaf spot. I don't know what that is. I think that's from an insect. You know, when things are dry, it's not tar leaf spot. I have to look into what that is. It's only, well, it's not every ear, it's just that one, so it's probably a bug. It's a bug, maybe a fungus, who knows. Oh, what is that? That's a bug. You can see where the little bastard was chewing at it. Right there. Took a bite out of crime, he did. Probably stink bugs. Looking for moisture. Anyway, we get this 5 inches of rain. That's going to propel this corn into a much better situation than what it's in right now. And I'm back to having to pee again, so hold on. So I'm full of pollen now. Walking through this stuff. This isn't terrible, I tell you. Even at this spot, there's no lower leaf damage from the dry weather. So, like I said, I'm in one of the drier spots on this farm. Oh, here's a skipper with the herbicide. Look at that. Jimson weed. That's freaking 6 feet tall, and giant foxtail. Nice. Let's get through here. Got 24 rows to get through here. I heard a car door slam. It might have been mine. Somebody might have walked over and shut it. I don't know. Nope, there's nobody here. Whew. Why is that? Oh, it decided it would look at the sky. Wasn't that something? So, anyway, I went in there. I came out there. You could just see the difference. When I come back, I'm going to look at the upper part of this farm. There's 170 acres here, and it really needs rain pretty bad. Like, really, really bad. I would say we're on the mend with this soil. I put lime on it a couple of years now, and it's going to need another dose of lime. It's low in pH and calcium. So probably the time that I get it straightened out to the point where it can be productive ground, really productive ground. My problem is the deer here, but the time I get it straightened out to the point where it's productive ground, somebody's going to try and rent it away from me, because that's the way that works anymore. So, wow. Actually, I'm kind of pleased with what I just saw. I'm really quite pleased. So we definitely got some rain at some point in the last week. Not a lot, maybe a few tenths of an inch, but it definitely brought it out of what it looked like a week and a half ago, because a week and a half ago I was ready to load the 357 Magnum and blow my brains out, because I had more corn that looked like it was a zero than I had. And I'm just I wouldn't actually do that, but you know what I mean. I mean, it was just, holy shit, this is bad. And it's big money. I mean, I've got a lot of money invested in this crop. I do around 4,000 acres of ground, and between the hay and the corn and the soybeans, corn and soybeans is about 1,300 acres. Yeah, something like 1,300 acres. Yeah. I actually lost some ground this year, but I picked some ground up elsewhere. But anyways, about 1,300 acres of row crops, and it's just big money that would make any normal 9-to-5er just shudder, because they could buy 3 houses on what I have borrowed, or not borrowed all of it, but the money that I have invested. Yeah, I should put it that way. I didn't borrow it all, but the money that I have invested in growing the 2024 crop, I believe you could easily purchase 3 decent homes with. And it all has to be made and paid back what I borrowed by the end of 2024. So, all right, this is the never-ending spray job. This farm, and now the one across the road has become a mite-infested pain in my rear end. So I went up to the fertilizer plant today, and I'm like, look, I need to kill the eggs on these damn mites, because what's happening is I'm killing the adults and the juveniles, but I'm not killing the eggs, and then they hatch back out. This is now the 3rd time that I have been over this bean crop, this farm, with insecticide in the last, I don't know, 3 weeks. I find it to be rather disturbing that I have to do this, but it is what it is. Let me flip it around, and you can see that they're just yellowing back up again. They had pretty well turned all green as of what was that, yesterday? Or day before yesterday? Yesterday I noticed that they weren't green no more. They were definitely yellow. So I was like, well, alright. I went out and I checked, and the leaves that were the new foliage that was coming up is now starting to turn yellow again. And I got my macro lens out on my telephone, and I looked and I could see the little bastards on there. What you'll see more than anything is the egg mass, which is put on there with like a spider web. They're like little cocoons. So obviously it's spider mites. So what the fertilizer plant or the chemical dealer said was maybe change up your chemistry a little bit, and you know, maybe that'll straighten it out. Well, I've been using a product that is okay for mites, not perfect for mites, but it was okay for mites, and it was good for thrips and weevils and all the other, you know, aphids and things like that. But for mites, it was just okay for. Then I went to a product called Battalion, which is fine. It works okay. The problem with Battalion is that it's the first go around. This has not been hit with Battalion. This has been hit with a product called Hero. Twice with Hero. One at the 6-ounce rate and one at the 10-ounce rate. 10-ounce rate did a really good job of knocking down the adults, but there's nothing that'll kill the eggs according to the fertilizer plant. Well, I know that if I use what I'm using right now in kind of the high enough dose, which is the maximum dose that you can use for your field, it will have a pretty good impact on everything, including the egg masses that are on here. And that is dimethoate or dimethoate. Used it in the past. Problem with this stuff is selective. It kills everything. Everything. So I don't like using it, but I'm gonna use it. I have to use it. There's just no way I can't use it. I have to use it. Let's see, is this thing gonna be an asshole to me? Why is that doing that? Ready? Okay, so it's this one. I think we've got something unplugged in there. Oh, there it goes. I caught it. Good. So, now I'm gonna stick. You can see the bugs are vacating. Dimethoate. Oh, yeah, you got it up close there. Dimethoate is the old Saigon back in the. I think they stopped making Saigon back in the 70s. You know, but Saigon. It works on everything. So that's gonna kill my beneficials, and I'm sorry, beneficials, but sometimes you just have to do some of the things you don't want to do, and this is one of those times. Because the price of beans is dropping. It came up a little bit, and then it drops back down. I don't know if the suits are fucking with it because they know that farmers are going to panic sell, and then they'll fuck with it some more, and then they'll panic sell some more. I'm not panic selling. I'm probably going to store it if I can, you know, but you got to realize the same suits that are messing with our grain price are the same ones that lend you the money to grow the crop. And if you're fortunate enough, which I am not at this point in my life right now, fortunate enough to be able to pay for my fertilizer, herbicide, and seed out of pocket, just doesn't happen. It's not happening anymore. It had in the past. It was great, but you know, the last 4 years have been pure hell, and really they have. And if you don't think so, well, you're living under a rock somewhere. But anyway, Tim, what in the hell are you doing to your brand new tractor that just came from the John Deere dealership 3 days ago?
What do you mean?
Oh, it's brand new. Isn't this the newest and latest, greatest model?
Yes, it is.
Oh, is it really? Yeah, I was talking to Lord Muck, and I kind of passed a comment that we farm in the dark ages over here because our tractors don't have the latest and greatest innovative systems and bells and whistles like to have over there, which I kind of agree with. I mean, I've been to England and seen the European tractors. I own a couple of them. The 4960 I got out of Germany back in when was that? 2003.
Yeah.
Not 93, 2003. And that tractor actually had better lighting systems on it, but it was a standard 4960 other than that. It was a 4955 is what it was. But anyway, I sent a picture over to Kurt, and he's like, yep, that's a nice old girl, but, you know, I made the joke that it was, you know, brand new. It's not brand new. It's 1957, I guess. I think they started with this is either a 57 or an early 58, because 58, 50 to 60, they made the 730 for 3 years, which, if you don't know, a 730 is identical to this tractor, except for the sheet metal. The dashboard may be different as well, and the dashboard is different. So the dashboard and the sheet metal are different on the 730. I have a 730 propane, and I can attest to that. It's got better dashboard, and it actually produces more power than this 720. Propane models produce about 1 horse more. But this is the diesel muzzle with the pony motor in Timothy. The diesel muzzle. Yeah, diesel model with the pony motor. Oh, Timothy is getting the starter working, because the starter, I guess, just wasn't working correctly. Are you going to use that jump pack?
What?
You're going to use the jump pack on it?
No, I took the Ford battery out.
Oh, yeah, I figured. Stole the battery out of my tractor. It's positive ground, so you know.
I know.
Okay.
You told me this when you first got it.
Positive ground. You know, well, Mr. Tim, sometimes you don't think. There's other things up on top. Sometimes you don't think. And sometimes you don't remember, and I don't know. Let's see what he does. Let's see if the old pig starts. These little 4 cylinders. Have you ever seen one of these? And check this gas tank out. Oh, you don't have no gas in it?
No.
Hang on, I know what's wrong with it.
It's sitting down there for how many years?
We used it last year. What are you talking about?
I never used a pony motor.
You didn't start this last year with a pony?
No.
That poor little pony. Did you change the oil? Check the oil in that? It didn't have any oil in it, remember? Yeah, maybe you want to do that. Oh, you're going to treat it to a modern drink of oil? A 720 synthetic? Or 520 synthetic? Oh my God. Don't make a mess. That oil's like $15 a quart. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not $15 a quart. It ain't cheap, but it ain't $15 a quart. And here's another tip. If you do have a 720 diesel, gasoline or diesel fuel today is not diesel fuel of 1957, 58, 59, and 60. It is what they call dry diesel fuel. And if you want to make your diesel, it ruins the injectors, and it will actually dry out the valves. The valves will be dry because they're just not lubricated, because the oil that they use is very refined. Diesel fuel today is more like gasoline of yesteryear than it is like diesel fuel. So what you do is you take a quart of engine oil and you dump it in the diesel fuel, and that will lubricate your upper cylinder and your valves. And what else will it lubricate? Your valves and your rings, your upper cylinder and valves. That's what it'll do. So if you're running one of these old girls, even if it's just for a little while, make sure you put some engine oil in your thing. You ready to fire this bitch up? All right, let's watch the old girl get started. Now make sure you don't lose the, when you start that big engine. You're going to start the big engine then, if it goes?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Well, that was too easy. Do you have enough oil in that little shit? Now, so you're going to smoke like crazy. There's the exhaust. So a little bit of engineering marvels these things are. Don't over choke it. The 2-cylinder engine, or the the 4-cylinder V4 engine pony motor that starts the, I think you've choked it to death. There it goes.
Hasn't ran for a long while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Is that a 2-stroke it's a 4-stroke 4-cylinder. When this thing starts, it's going to sound like a 2-stroke engine, but it is a 4-stroke 4-cylinder engine. And he did something to it. It does not share the same oil as the engine of the diesel, but it shares the same water. And the exhaust, for winter starting, the exhaust goes through the intake manifold. This is the exhaust pipe there, and then it goes down to the little muffler here. That goes through the intake manifold. Yeah, and that ingenious. And in the wintertime, you leave your 4-cylinder engine to run a while, and you really should let it warm up in general before you actually go and start the big engine. And when you change the oil in the 720, 730s little gasoline engine, there's a valve right here. This little valve here, you turn that, and that will drop the engine oil out of the 4-cylinder and drop it into the big engine. So you don't have to find a spot to put it, per se. You just, he's got the starting fluid. Here he goes. Gonna blow up now. So if you're changing the oil, you just drop it into the diesel. Oh, you've choked it to death is what's happened. Yeah. I don't think so, Tim. I don't think so, Tim. So then you replace that, you close the valve and then put the fresh oil in. You got to be careful if that oil has leaked down into the crankcase of the big engine, and these things are notorious for leaking. The float bowls are notorious for leaking and filling the crankcase of the little V4 motor with gasoline, and if it's leaking down into the bottom of the big engine, you get gas in your fuel or your engine oil. And then I'm really tired. I've sprayed over 300 acres today. I'm a bit whooped. Yeah, close to 400. Well, 400 acres in the last 2 days. So last night I did about, I did 400 acres in yesterday and today. So anyways, whatever. With that being said, this is not working out for Tim. I will shut this off and come back at it when it's going to start.